Peace, everybody. This is Butta Beats from Nomadic Massive, welcoming you to Autres Langues. As we make our way towards Nomadic Massive's 20th anniversary, we thought it was important to highlight some of the individuals and communities that helped shape and inform hip-hop culture and continue to inspire us to this day. I'm here with my co-hosts Waahli, aka Walisha Keys, Lou Piensa, aka Sunset Lou, and Ali Sepu, aka Ali Veda. You're now part of the Universal Superfam. Let's go!
Hold on.
Pardon me, sir, did you say something?
Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on.
What the hell are you talking about?
Hold on. Pero si ya hemos empezado.
And, today's focus today, we've been covering a couple of topics, but really, honestly, we're just here to, chat with people we love, we respect, and that we want to just focus on the question about live music. And, to my left, I got my man, Jahsun, a local brother drummer in arms.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? We shared the same drum stool. Easy. Right? Right? Head honcho at Kalmunity Incorporated.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean? We just to name a couple few things. I can't remember the name of the spot on Saint Sotique, but it's
the Sablo
Cafe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Sablo, and then all the way to Bobards, right?
Yeah.
Until
Petit Campus.
and Petit Campus as well. Good.
Yeah.
Sablo Español.
All right, Sablo Español. Yeah, Sablo Español. And then, of course, we got and then that's from one generation. I'm not here trying to age you because I'm in that same camp. So yeah,
He called Zibs wise.
Well, the wisdoms are coming out. So
a younger generation, a man I saw come up, maybe even like spit his first rhymes or first couple rhymes.
First freestyles for sure.
At
That's
the
you.
Cypher.
Yeah.
At the Cypher, he's a graduate of Cypher. Went on to do his own event.
That's it. Shout out to Growve MTL.
Growve MTL, killing it, right? Right?
That's
real
that's
Right? Well, we're talking about the live music scene. That's really what we kind of want to focus on. So most of the questions will be around that. But initially, we just like to set off when you were coming up, like what's the doorway to what you do now in terms of music? Whether it could be hip hop or it could just be music in general. The communities that you grew up in. What were the maybe obstacles you were facing or the things that you found in your way to get you to where you are?
Well, for me, I started listening to hip hop at least thanks to my cousins, my family. Music's all over Jamaican household, as you can imagine, from tapes, records, CDs, you name it, we had it. My parents were really into R&B, grandparents really into really old school soca and reggae. My cousins were all up into hip hop, so that just followed me. And then in high school, I started playing saxophone, so jazz really got deep in there. Then let's skip right after high school. Went to the jam sessions, and the microphone took over. I was always singing a little bit and stuff, and like hosting things, but not really. I would never call myself a rapper even today. But yeah, then started MCing and hanging out with these cats. These are the OGs, if I may. Not to age y'all.
Appreciate it. Yeah. 21 for life.
For me now?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, I mean, we're gonna start at the beginning.
1928.
You know what I'm saying?
Back in my day.
No, but coming up in a West Indian house is a lot of soca, a lot of reggae, a lot of calypso, a lot of just soul music, and then that's more on my mom's side, and my dad was more the eclectic one who introduced me to all kind of things like rock and jazz and fusion and Santana, and you know what I mean. So he really introduced me to a lot of different sides of music, and I was growing up in Ville Saint Laurent, but then we moved to like Chateauguay, which became like a real Chateauguay back when I moved there it was really
Paradise.
no, it wasn't even suburb yet. You know what I mean? It felt well country. So
Like dirt roads, basically.
yeah, not everywhere, obviously, but like the street we were on, they were like just building it up. So yeah, dirt roads, you know, it was just what it was. But it was cool. We got a chance to have a house and all that. But it was kind of isolating, which really got me into the music a lot deeper, which was my forte.
Deep isolation.
Yeah.
Were you already playing the drums at that point, or?
No, not really until we moved there. Because my sister had a kit that she'd never let me use. It was kind of like a thing. Don't touch my. You know what I mean?
I've heard that before.
Them kind of things.
I've been there. Yeah.
So it was like sneak and try and play when she's gone and put the sticks back, you know.
Exactly.
Get at the right angle.
That movie Misery, where he's got to place the statues facing west.
So you know that he can't walk
Yeah,
around.
exactly. It wasn't as bad though.
I was gonna say this is before you could just take a picture of the setup, right? Like,
Definitely before that. Definitely before that. So yeah, and then from there, that really got me into drums, being able to be in Chattagee and just focus on that because she wasn't using them by then, and it was like, you know. And but to skip forward, I mean, when coming into community time, after a lot of experience of playing with different bands from punk scenes to reggae scene to rock scenes, alternative scenes, and all that, I ended up starting this collective, this beautiful flower that's grown into a Montreal institution, really. Yeah, Kalmunity.
It's a nice segue because, you know, you are the founder of one of the most legendary, like, long-lasting, improv night called Community Vibe Collective, which also focus on Black music expression. And big round of applause for this because this shit has been real, you know? Could you tell us, like, basically how this project came to be? And also, what's the story behind the name? I mean, anything that you could share, because it's a staple in Montreal.
Yeah, honestly, it was a long time brewing in a way. But, you know, you were playing with different bands and as you all know how it is, running a serious band and trying to represent internationally and all that. There's a lot of dedication that goes into it, and you don't always have time to be in other side projects. It doesn't always work, especially at certain crucial moments, especially. So for me, it was a culmination of all, being in bands and meeting different people on different gigs and making musical friends, but not really getting the space to really communicate in that way. So that was brewing, as well as I was freed. It was a moment of freedom or rock bottomness. That kind of
One and the same.
yeah, where you really sit and try to look at what's going on musically and what's missing and try and fill that gap, And I really found that Montreal was very much lacking in Black creative music. You had a lot of cover bands or artists, making their songs, which is total respect to that, original music every time. But in terms of like exploring the music and pushing it a bit forward in the genres that we all love and adore, but pushing those things forward, just like any idiom has had its progression, it usually starts from the groundswell of musicians and creative artists around it. So I said we need a space for Black music expression, and so we just created it. But really, a lot of it came from really, I believe in dream books, writing down before you manifest, and wrote down a lot of, I wrote down pretty much everything, the people I would like involved, at least in the initial noyau. Yeah, the people you'd like involved and how you saw it and this and that, and everything got checked, man. And more, obviously, and more as you progress. But yeah, I had certain people in mind as, Zibs was one of the original founding, well, you spoke to him, so yeah, and it just came together really, that culmination of finding the idea and the people, and then simultaneously a friend of mine started a little cafe, needed some publicity to get people in the place. It was like way up a bit north. At the time, everyone's in the plateau, and Saint Zotique was like, "What?
It doesn't seem far anymore.
It does. It's not far at all. It's right in the heart of the,
55 real quick, John.
You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say, so beyond the, it just being music that you could play with your friends, is how it starts. But of course, we all know that it evolves into this platform for up and coming artists, and it's given all of us included. I did my first battle against Zibs at one of our clashes, and so I'm wondering about if you could speak to that part of it. Like, in what way has community been a way for artists to gain experience and to move into their own spaces, like as almost a training ground for?
I would say it was a total good training ground, and indeed it was.
Get the chops in.
Yeah, I mean, the scene was okay, especially back in the day when you didn't have bands really trying to create in the genres that people like. There was no other places for singers to work other than with their computer, or if they're lucky enough to be popular enough to be able to hire a band for whatever show they're gonna do. That's the band experience. And for us, we wanted to make sure that all the vocalists were heard. Big thing was about being heard. Creating a platform for voices. So the voice is obviously very important. There's other voices. There's other musicians have voices as well. But I'm just saying the actual voice is a very direct contact for people. So that was very important. And in order to hear poets over a live band and hearing, rappers who don't necessarily have the experience rapping over a live band, it's a whole different breath control. I guess you guys could maybe open up on that. But it's a different training. And I think we trained poets and MCs very well in the city, and singers as well, and Proof is just so many artists.
Proof is sitting right next to you, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. So many artists just coming out of it and doing their own thing in such strong ways and original ways and fearless ways. And I think that all stemmed from that practice of performing weekly with someone this close to you.
I wanted to attest to what Ali was saying about it being a space for a training ground, a space for like meaningful collaborations. I want to attest just from my own, my own experience. And I think most of us, because we used to go religiously to Kalmunity, to be honest. And our band was already started. We sort of fell upon the live thing as well. Like, Ali was really the only musician in the band, back then. Jigal picked up the bass, started playing around. Butta bought a drum set on some crazy, like, running up Golden Edge to get
$200.
Yeah, Vox hustled.
Didn't know how to put it together either.
That's it.
Right, so we were green, but we wanted to do it, and to a certain extent, like, we were part of that first generation of live hip hop. But Kalmunity for us, because we were now pairing ourselves up with musicians that have way more experience. And as a vocalist, as an MC, I learned so much from that, just based on you talking about projection. When you're rapping with a DJ is one thing. When you got 3-4 instruments playing hard, mic control, right? Exactly. Yeah. And also I think the improvised thing, also the freedom that it gives you, but also you got to manage that freedom. You got to know, you got to know when to step away. You got to know when to step back in. We talked about meaningful collaborations. I think a lot of things came out as well. It was a sense of community that was created there. And you probably started with, sort of like, obviously your circle and everything. And I saw the way you let slowly people in, and you had a very, I think, what's the word I'm looking for?
Diplomatic.
He was
Diplomatic.
He was curated.
Yeah, but it was done in a way that was very effective. Like,
Well, yeah.
it was very welcoming, but you also had, you broke it down to what needed to be done, and I also saw you in some cases sort of saying, like, that can't happen anymore, Yeah. So, which is so important.
It is. Well,
right?
it's because, you're offering something to people, In the end, you're asking people to come see this. So you need to give them at least quality. You're already asking them to risk this thing with this improv night. And improv, especially when we started, because before Sable Cafe, like I said, I had the people together, but we had to find a spot. And like every little club you'd call, we're not into no improvisation. It was like, what's your repertoire? Improvise it. you're just gonna do n'importe quoi, you know? And it's like, no, it's not n'importe quoi.
Even
you
like
know?
Jello bar. This is like at the end of like the Jello bar era, really,
Yeah.
with Coco Cafe and all that stuff. And
They-
then
they-
and
they-
the R&B. It used to be like that's where the R&B bands were, and
Exactly.
then they just disappeared. Like
Covers.
yeah,
though.
but it was all like Cool in the Gang.
It's covers. You
Yeah,
had to have your repertoire, you know. And so, not to veer off of what you're saying, but just the climate of improvisation, you know. People think it's you're doing anything, but it's a high skill, you know, and it's a lot of on the field training that we get, you know, when you're forced to do such improvisation as an MC or a singer. Yeah, you're listening. You're, like you said, managing that freedom. I mean, you're composing. We're all composing together, you know, and yeah.
It's a road.
I don't know
It's
if I
a-
answered your question at all.
You did. I'm thinking back. I'm thinking
But
back.
it's
as
me
I'm
too.
saying
All
it,
this
yeah.
is making me go way back, you know. And
Yeah, well, I mean, there were, pre-show, if you could call it a show, there were the meetings downstairs.
yes,
that were really
quality
important.
control.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right,
that's,
quality control. There you go.
That's what I want to say. We
There
used
was
to have
debriefs as well.
Well, we had exactly. We had the Monday nights, right? Because the cafe was closed. They gave me the key. I could bring people into the basement where we store the gear, have a small setup there to be able to, you know, it wasn't only quality control. Originally, it was really to share. Everybody would come, share their pieces. You know what I'm saying? Have good conversations about what they're intending to do, and have deep conversations that may even alter what they do. Just, you know, each one teach one, and as we grow, we strengthen, you know. That's what those nights started as. They became quality control when people started interested. Oh, I want to get on. Well, then, okay, come to the Monday night. Come vibe with us, show us what you do, because that's what we were doing anyways, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really like, okay, we got to get these people. It was very organic, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, you can be like that.
You know, no, but that's why you know, it's shocking when the times happen where you're like, no, that can't happen, you know.
But quality control has to do also sometimes with staying quiet and observing. You
Indeed,
know,
indeed.
You have to know also that sometimes you got to listen a little bit, step back, and then come back when the thing's right.
That's true. Well, that's if you're seasoned enough to know that, because we've had a lot of people who
Crash, yeah.
don't know that they're not at a certain level. You know what I mean? And it feels so good because the feeling is amazing. You know what I'm saying? You got the band there, people are adding to your stuff, and all that stuff is there. And so you get wrapped up in the moment. And, you know, and because it's improvised and it feels so open and free, everybody felt like I feel free, I could just walk on and do something, you know? And but we had the great Josephine Watson, you know what I'm saying? To help direct the traffic in a very classy way and a very loving way, you know? And if she needed more help, well, then the fellas would back her up, you know what I mean? But basically, she would do it very gracefully and try and really, you know, guide things and understand what we're trying to do, you know. Shem-G.
We met, you and I.
Loop
But,
Sessions, no?
did we meet at Loop Sessions?
Did we not meet at Loop Sessions?
I thought we met at the Cypher.
Oh,
but-
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Before you even went to Brazil, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, but shout out Loop Sessions as well. It's all related. It's all continuations, and you know.
I'm thinking of Shem with a laptop. That's when my life really started. You know.
Right. The different
that's
Shem.
when I first met you.
Okay, cool. All right. So we met at Loop Sessions, but I saw you on the mic for the first time at the Cypher, which is another, improv, hip hop and R&B night. My question to you is, you obviously, from another generation, you may have witnessed, live hip hop, meaning with instruments, at a younger age than many of us have.
Yeah. I mean, I also grew up in like music in general. We were always, I was studying music through high school, all 5 years,
Right.
playing saxophone, but then outside of saxophone, I was doing a lot of like extracurricular just on my own time, just like trying to set up bands. I was really trying to like, when Scott Pilgrim came out, I was like, okay, cool, that's me. Like I'm the black Scott Pilgrim, everything's gonna be sick. Like, like that whole thing. And so yeah, I would just link up with any and every musician I could get my hands on, really. And we would meet up whenever we could, however we could, outside in the park, in whoever's mom's basement, whoever had anything, we would bring stuff very, I don't know if makeshift, grassroots, however you want to play it, we would do it like that, And then when I moved to the city, because my mom bought a house in the suburbs, and I was like, I don't want to live in the suburbs, I hate this. Because again, it's very isolating, right? Like you said, so then that's when you become one of those like basement producers.
Yeah, it leaves room for creativity, but not for sharing that creativity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would often venture out, like from age 16 to now, so it's been like a decade at this point. Just running around trying to find live music, every open mic, every comedy open mic, poetry slam, and then eventually turned 18, hopped into Cypher on I think it was my 18th birthday, or my friend's 18th birthday, and saw Militime and you were hosting that night. I remember what I was wearing. I remember everything about that night. But yeah, that's the lineage basically. That's how it went down.
Nowadays, it seems like performance isn't even a step that you need to go through, to
Yeah.
get your music out there, right?
Most people focus on content creation.
Correct.
And I often not laugh at it, but laugh about the fact that like some people do 4 shows a year.
That's right.
And to me, that's hilarious.
And the show is probably not great either.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
you have this,
It's like them rapping with their backs on.
yeah,
You know?
and like the whole, exactly the whole verse is doubled up on top of it.
Right.
Like you might as well just lip sync, bro. Like I don't know. That being said, I've like even as a DJ, I prefer live band. It's just it's the way to go in my perspective.
Yeah.
Also, like hip hop started out in the park. Like you got to be outside. You got to be with your friends, and you got to steal power from the city and do it however you can.
No, but it's really interesting you do that, and obviously you draw it back to a heritage that was passed on to you, or that you gravitated towards. But
Did my homework.
you did your homework, of course. But the thing is that even the industry itself doesn't even push that live performance part anymore, right? It's very much about streaming, about putting out your music.
How
whichever
fast can
way.
you get people's eyes on you
Right.
for that quick second, and then they'll swipe to the next thing, next mac and cheese video. You know what I mean?
Right. So what drew you to the Cypher in particular, and what did you gain as far as performance skills, as far as crowd control, mic control, the more technical aspect of performance?
But like Jahsun was saying, field experience. Like you can't do it unless you do it. Like unless you trip over enough mic cables, you'll never know where to step. I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's actually one just anecdote that I'm remembering off of that exact notion. I was performing at Kalmunity and doing this whole thing where I was walking around the mic stand, and at some point I was like, oh snap, the whole thing is now I don't do that.
Been there.
And now I just don't do that. Now I'm just holding it like this, and when I do my dance around the anyway, that's stuff like that. It's very little minute details that like someone who doesn't do that all the time will slip, fall, and eventually freeze. Because if I slip and fall, I'll just keep rapping on the floor. I've figured that part out,
Tripping over mic cords, getting you bored.
That's it.
Exit KRS-One, circa 1993, 4.
Or like Big Daddy Kane, drop the mic, still make it look fresh, you know what I mean?
Now you have your own event.
That's it. Learn from the best and just trying to perpetuate that. I'm always showing thanks to both Kalmunity and Le Cypher. They taught me everything I know, and I just get to keep that going. Montreal needs live music space for people to gather and do their thing and obtain that field experience. It's really not easy to just go up on stage and make stuff up as you go, and to like telepathically communicate with people that you're not even eye contacting with. You're just like throwing hand signs up. Yeah, wouldn't be able to do it without what came before and having that homework and like learning from others' mistakes. And now what we get to do is, I guess, lead the next generation into the same thing, which is what I hope to do.
Can you speak about the name of the project and who's with y'all as well?
Okay, so we started out as M Live for Montreal Live, just very straightforward Montreal live music. It was also on a Wednesday, so it was Mercredi Live. And then, yeah, right. I'm always about the double entendres. This is where Grove comes in too.
Son?
All the time, but that being said, Grove came from what we were doing, which was grooving and growing. And also I'm a big nerd. I play a lot of Guild Wars too. So the main land of one of the races, the Sylvari, is called the Grove, where the mother tree lives, and you talk to her and like you're just this plant person. Also in Skyrim, Shane. Also in Skyrim, there's a Grove. Shane, my business partner, also like I guess 33.3% of Grove is is a big fan of that. So we're just a bunch of nerds who made a bunch of nerd references, and we still do that. Even in all of my freestyles, it's all manga and video game nonsense.
That's dope. That's dope. But it's a space really for you to just be that person as well. And you know, I commend you on taking it on, because I know it's not easy. Have you had any like places where you were like, okay, this is really like this is what I want to do for a minute now. Like, I'm going to do this for a stretch. Like, this is an important work.
Funny enough, I knew when I went to Cypher for the first time, I was like, oh, this is sick. This is everything. This is what Montreal is all about. Cool. It was done. It was done. Like, I was over. I was like, okay, this is sick. This is everything. Then I got to see Kalmunity. Like, walked in. I think that's how I started getting close to Basics, actually. Oh. And then Basics brought me up and was like, hey, yo, they need to meet you because you're better than me at this. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then you agreed with him somehow. And then I got to host with y'all, and then everyone was just like letting me in with open arms and lots of love. So it felt easy for me to believe that I could.
I wanted to talk about fostering this live music scene, because we know that like hip hop hasn't always been, you know, a friend of the live music. So how do you see with your respective events continuing to promote live music and the importance of live music? How can we make this grow?
I was gonna say, on the flip side of what I was saying with like social media and all that, it's easier for us to just be ourselves and to just let it be that, and people will just gravitate towards it naturally. That's literally what happened with the jam session. Like, we barely post on Instagram. Like, we post the flyer once a week on a Tuesday, and the event's Wednesday. like we posted it Tuesday at 10. Like, we know you're coming. It's cool. Like, that being said, it's not like to be arrogant or anything like that. It's just really like, we know already that there are 4,000 people that are subscribed to this free event that only has a 250 room cap. So no matter what, we know we have a solid enough audience, and we're not begging for attention like a lot of these 4 shows a year artists are. Because we know we're doing another show next week. We know we have 3 shows this week. Like, no, but truly, like, it's a low key diss, but it like, step your game up. You know what I mean? Like, because we're out here, and we're gonna keep being out here, and we're gonna take your job because you're not doing it enough, and that's it.
Who's some of the musicians now? Are you getting a sense that you're drawing in obviously a new generation, maybe even a generation younger than you?
I'd say we're bridging the gap.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we get people from like Le Cypher and like people that wish they could have been playing with Urban Science type thing, and then they come hang out at our jam, and then like, I don't have any names in particular, but like someone that wouldn't necessarily get hired by Ja or Vincent would get hired by us. And then we can just like bridge that gap, because then it's like, oh, Vince was in the back of the room, saw this person was actually better than he remembered from his jam, and then all of a sudden he's got a gig. Like, and then everybody's making new connections, and it never ends. The cycle continues, you know? That's my goal, at least. Like, I feel like everyone should do their homework as well. So if they don't know what came before our jam, I got to let them know.
And so I just want to get a feedback from you because here you are sitting next to Shem. You know, you're listening to all that, and it's your heritage.
That's what I'm saying. Because according to his question, I'm like, he answered it. I know. Straight up,
It's family to me. Like, yeah.
But that's what it is. It is a great thing because getting back to both of your questions, the name Kalmunity, a lot of thought went into it, and it's actually Rania that came up with it. You know, he put the concept. Shout out.
Come on, Ron.
But the real reason why we had to find a name that just was the real concept was because we knew we were gonna play reggae, we knew we were gonna play hip hop, and Montreal was not booking that like that at that time. They were actually fighting it down. You say reggae show, it'd be like, what?
Trouble.
He's coming. Yeah, and then improv on top of it. It's like, what?
Anything can
You're gonna do
happen.
anything? Like, what the hell? You know? And so we had a hard time, and we had to really prove ourselves for many years. And the proof is in the pudding because now clubs are like begging for people to come and have jam nights. And not the jazz jam nights I'm talking about, you know, or Brazilian jazz night. I'm talking like all kind of pop music, all kind of whatever, just improvise, right? And that was not the scene. So I'm proud to say that we definitely kicked down some doors, you know, and
opened them for us, for real. Like,
yeah, and I'm glad to see that young creatives are taking it up, man, the way you're doing it, you know. So keep on.
And there are other jams that have started from this, like
yours.
Like that, straight up. Like there are other organizers that are trying to build communities same way, and I think it's great. Like I'm in all the group chats, so it's like, yeah, it's a good time.
Ali touched upon it a little bit. You know, the thing about hip hop and live music. So obviously, there's the obvious thing where, on the one hand, a lot of musicians, you know, look down upon hip hop. It's not really music, it's noise. They're just taking other people's music. You know, the whole
Sample
conversation. Yeah, right. And on the other hand, when attempts were made, sometimes musicians that maybe have a more, you know, whether it's a jazz training or any type of other sound, don't understand the aesthetics of hip hop production, right? And I think that's something that also Kalmunity mastered in a way that was very interesting. You know, the importance of, you know, the loop, let the loop be, let the MC, you know, be the multiple in that equation, and of course the swing. I mean, as a drummer.
Oh yeah, man. You know. I think. I mean, I grew up with hip hop, so it's a sonic thing that's just in me. You know, just like reggae hip hop is really like.
Of course.
Locked in there, you know, and
you can't dissociate those two.
I can't. No,
right.
I can't. Anyways,
Yeah.
I know some people will argue and all that, but they're linked.
Genres are dead anyway.
Deal with it. That's it. That's what I'm saying, you know. And I think that's also a reason why we want to call it Kalmunity, to just like take away all those genres. But getting back to the precision of like making hip hop, I have to say, with the foundational people, especially in Kalmunity, at the very beginning, it was easy because we were enjoying the joy of repetition, and I think that that's a real element that some musicians don't appreciate the power of. You know, yeah, you know what I mean, like
The stank face.
yeah, the joy of repetition, man. Like there's a trans thing that happens when you lock into something, you know what I mean? And that's a very deep element of music that is a very basic thing, a very natural thing. When people play music together, that's how you communicate. You can't. It's not a monologue; it's a dialogue or a plentiologue. You know what I mean? How many people we are, you know. So it's like you giving me a whole mass of information is not really gonna help. Give me something simple. I will answer you, and let's see where that conversation takes us as everyone adds to it. You know what I mean? And I think that is our foundation, and that is a foundation of building hip hop beats. You know what I mean? Like,
But I really like what you said about quality control. Like at the jam, we call it like benchmarking, I guess. And that's why we have a house band in the first place for the jam session. So like so that people can show up and be like, oh yeah, this is what music kind of sounds like in an improvised setting. Let me try next, and then we go from there. Instead of just like people show up, they're on a list, and it's like, okay, we're 4 people that don't know each other. Anybody know how to do a 2-5-1? Other guys like, what's a 2-5-1? You know?
Yeah.
So you just got to benchmark like that. You got to.
Indeed. I mean, with Community, it was a lot. We didn't rely too much on what you knew musically, as long as you could play. So you knew something, but you didn't have to know that you knew. We had to know that you knew.
You had to have the ear.
You know what I'm saying? We had to know that you. As long as we knew that you knew, then it's okay. You know, if you didn't know, then just play.
There's a big intellectual argument always, like, well, not intellectual, but there's like the intellectual sort of musician, the one that comes from a really heavily, inundated with theory but don't have a lot of like, just practical, like, they practiced 6 hours in a room, like staring at the white wall, like doing arpeggios or some shit like that. And then you have other people that like just naturally have some kind of inclination and do with what they have, but they do it exceptionally well as well, right? And when both of those minds can meet in the front, it's very powerful, right? And because then both are learning, like, one is like from an intellectual, we used to call it like cerebrally masturbating, Like,
I was gonna say exactly that. I was gonna say
and
masturbating.
I used to get in so much trouble. I used to grill everybody. Even at the cipher, I was like the one guy. I was like, 2 notes, 2 fucking notes.
But at the same time,
right?
people need to express themselves.
No, don't noodle when I'm rapping, guys.
Not when you're rapping. Not when you're rapping.
So the same problem.
But do
It's all the same
rappers
problem.
leave space for musicians?
They do.
If they don't, then that's why he's doing it over your raps.
But then they feel the hand on the back.
He's got to
you know what I
express
mean?
himself somewhere.
We talked a lot about the musical aspects, of what these jams have brought, and in particular the community. I think one of the things also that drew us there was that it was a space for political conversation, political engagement, political expression. And, particularly in the Black community, I would say, in Montreal, it was a space that was unique and almost so scarce, right, in Montreal. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was about to say.
It's when you ask the question, but the answer's included in the question.
You pretty much said it all. I mean,
well, I guess my question is, how intentional was that, and how important was it to maintain it? Sometimes when you open up the thing too much, then it loses that a little bit, gets diluted a little bit. So,
Totally. I think we got a good balance. We had trouble sometimes making people understand that we need a platform. People maybe thought at first that it was like excluding because we're saying, oh, well, it's a platform for Black expression. But everybody consumes Black expression, like, all the time. So, like, what's so strange now that, like, why is it so, like, oh my God?
Because you said it.
You know what I'm saying? But it's true. That's really what it is. So, but really and truly, there's no intention of being political. We wanted to play some music, but we knew that.
That is political.
Well, this is what I'm saying. And being Black in Montreal apparently is political. And you speaking your mind apparently can be political. So let it be, because we're making a platform for expression. So what? We're gonna block expression now because someone views it as political? I'm really about freedom of speech to the fullest. If you hate me, I want to know you hate me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just
I'd
tell
rather
me.
you tell me.
I can deal with it. I could actually deal with it better than all the games, and I don't have time, man. I don't have time for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's about expression, and we let people express. Did we always agree 100% with what's being said? Not necessarily, but if it's done in a respectful way, where they're not trying to like just come out and everybody in the crowd, well, and they have something on their chest that they need to express, then express it, Bridget. Yeah, that's the healing right there. We had 2 nights, right, in the collective, the jazz night, which was a little bit more laid back, and
Those are Sunday
nights, and then we had our legendary Tuesday night. And I have to say, the Sunday nights morphed into something that I found represented sonically what Community was about even more originally. It was more fusioned than whereas when on a Tuesday night we would be a bit more genre oriented to kind of go with
It catered.
Give the singers what they want.
It catered to more vocalists, right?
Just, yeah, it was a support
structure song.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it was a support system. So if you know it's a soul singer, you're not gonna give her the
the punk rock beat.
She's gonna be like, what are you doing?
It's a lot of noodling. I told y'all.
Exactly.
Two no.
Exactly. So you know what I mean? So it's about, but when on the Sunday night, we had Malika Tyrolien, who's incredible. Obviously, y'all know her. Incredible vocalist. And, you know.
Great piano player, too.
Yeah. Great songwriter, too. And but in terms of her role as a singer there, she was like the main singer. She would use her voice in a new school scat form. Where, because we're not playing swing jazz. It's a jazz night, but we're not playing swing. We're playing a lot of, hip hop and a lot of infused beats. So she used her, sometimes if it's an R&B kind of oriented beat, she'd use her melody. She'd give you an R&B melody that that you swear you're hearing the words to, but she's not singing words. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That kind of, so it's a new school. I call it new school scat, or what? I don't know. I don't know what to. Well, it is that, but she's using her tone, so it gave the band so much more freedom.
As we're wrapping up this beautiful conversation, it's been great. Just last question: in your eyes, what does the music, live music, looks like in Montreal in the future?
I want more shows. I mean, I feel like my position on more shows is clear at this point.
More venues as well?
More venues, like bring back Divan Orange, like move Diving Bell to somewhere where no one's complaining. Like shout out to Turbo House for just giving us the coolest place to be. Just more live music. Montreal loves it. Montreal needs it. And people that come here come back for live music in Montreal because we have such a unique flavor. Like the melting pot is so serious. Like the different languages, Autres Langues, gang gang. But the fact that I could literally have a career in English music and French music, and my audience will be completely different. And then there'll also be like that Venn diagram of people that like listen to both, and it'll all work out. You know, everyone can get along with everybody, and like there isn't as much separation as like the media wants us to think. Like people really do like each other out here. And I feel like that's gonna continue to happen, especially since like everyone's getting their chops up, everyone's reading their books, everyone's doing their homework, and cream rises, you know what I'm saying? So Montreal is the cream of Canada in my perspective. And it's only a matter of time before like everyone's a Leonard Cohen, you know?
Yeah, I'll clap for that. Let's clap for that.
Clap for that.
Yeah.
That's the future right there.
That's what I'm saying.
We're doing that community mural downtown, man. Come on now.
But I would love to. I don't know what's gonna happen really, but I would love to see another black space open, but for creative music, you know. And I'd like to see more than R&B, hip hop, and reggae. I'd like to see some creative. I would like to see some creative, like, okay, because you know how like Sala Rosa is there, the whole Godspeed. They have different kind of festivals. It's a whole scene where they have their maybe more out there, more alternative stuff.
It's not playing on Virgin Radio.
Yes, yeah, something a lot less pop, and something that's totally about sound and improvisation in a black space. I would love to see that in the future.
Thank you guys for being with us, man. We really highly appreciate it.
Well, shout out first to Nomadic Massive for your 20 years of holding it together, representing internationally, and yeah, man, no, seriously, respect. I know how hard it is, you know what I mean? And it's good that you guys have a good family vibe, you know, and try to maintain that, because that's really all we have other than the music, is that time, a lot of the time outside of the music. And so if that is, you know, definitely painful, it's really hard, and it's hard enough with beautiful people. So just keep it together, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah, love it.
Thank you. Much love.
Props.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sir, did you say something?
Ladies and gentlemen, Autres Langues. Autres Langues.